have Miss Sharmeeka Brooks, also known as Bawse Lady, on the line here with me today. What's going on?
Yes, everything is everything. I'm super excited to be here with you today and, to share my journey that I know is going to inspire just so many women and men, young girls, young boys. So I'm very excited today.
Yes. All right. Well, let's go ahead and get into it. So I know your journey starts all the way. You're from Miami, Florida, right?
Yes.
Okay. So let's just kind of let's give us a little bit of your background information growing up in Miami, just to let the people know a little bit about who Sharmeeka Brooks is.
Yeah. So actually, I'm from Jamaica. I was born in Philadelphia, so my parents are Jamaican, and then they had me in Philadelphia. So I was raised there, very cold, very gloomy, and that's where everything started for my life. As a young child, my mother, she was the primary caretaker of me. My dad, he was around here and there, but I watched my mom work 3 jobs, literally just to pay the bills. And she couldn't afford anything else. So I had to go and get a job at the age of 14 just to be able to pay for weave, just to be able to buy clothing, to get my nails done. And the job that I was working at the time paid me around like $150 a week. So I was able to buy tokens to take the bus to school and to do the little things that I just said that I need to do for myself, because my mom couldn't afford to do so. So I've been working ever since 14. And then fast forward, I'm in high school and I had issues with my weight. I had issues with my skin. So I was really a loner. I do have one best friend who we have been best friends our entire lives. Her name is Brittany. And she has been like my confidant forever. She knows me in and out. And it was good to just have someone to share all of my pain, my happy times with, because, bottling those things up is one of the reasons why I became an introvert, even though I had her to talk to. But it's like, I only had one person. You don't want to just dump problems on one person all the time. And it's like a roller coaster. She's dumping on me, I'm dumping on her. And, if we're both sad, we're sad together. There's no, happy medium. So moving forward, I turned 18. I meet a wonderful guy. And I ended up getting pregnant, having my first child. And as a teenage mom, it was very, very hard. And I didn't go to college. So I had my high school diploma, and it was like, okay, I have this diploma, I have my baby. What am I going to do with my life? And I just didn't know, because the example that I had was just my mom working. So I didn't know to shoot for the stars. I didn't know to dream bigger. So I ended up getting 2 jobs, literally working. One was called DSW Shoe Warehouse. And then I would leave there at like 2 p.m. And then I would start my next job at 3 o'clock, which was Old Navy. And I did that back to back, like for a couple of years. And it was very, very hard, because my baby, she was just in daycare. I was never with her. One job paid for daycare, and the other job was paying for my gas, my car insurance. So therefore, like, I literally had nothing left. And it was like just working to barely make ends meet. And then I found myself doing that for years, no matter what job I had. Is because I didn't think larger. I didn't know that there was another world out there where I could be an entrepreneur. I always thought that, I'm just going to work and pay bills. And if I'm able to pay my bills on time, I was living the best life that I could, because I watched my mom struggle and she couldn't pay all her bills on time. So I thought that I was doing the right thing. And one day, my mom, she was just very, very sick, and we're still in Philadelphia. And I'm looking at her and something's not right. And she had a heart procedure, something small. I don't know what it was. And then we ended up picking up all of our belongings and we moved to Florida. And that's how my journey literally started, in the great 305 sunny Florida. And when I came there, I was 20 years old. So my daughter was 2, and I still found myself not knowing what to do. So I went and got a job at, I went to a recruiting company, because I wasn't qualified for a lot of the jobs. A lot of them need to be bilingual. I didn't speak Spanish. And I'm like, okay, I can't work for $8 an hour. Like, I have a child, and this is Florida. The cost of living is much higher than the state of Pennsylvania. So I was looking for something better, and I didn't find it. Long story short, And I worked at this recruiting company, and I worked there for maybe like 2 years, bouncing around job to job. And it was just struggle to struggle to struggle. And then I find this one job, which is called BrandSmart USA. I literally worked there for 10 years. I was able to be approved for my first home. And that happens in 2010, I believe. In 2010, I was approved for my first home. And that home was it was a journey because I was only able to make 2 payments on time for 2 years, and then went into foreclosure because I would be 30 days out, 30 days late, 60 days late. Then the only time I caught up was when I got my income tax check one time. I was able to catch up, and I was able to have 2 months of payments on time. And then I ended up losing that home and went into foreclosure. And it's like, okay, what am I going to do? At this time now, I have 2 children because I had my second daughter in 2009. So now I'm like, you know what? I had the result to the food stamps. I needed to Medicaid because I needed assistance because I was not able to make ends meet. And after it was December 2012. And I'm like, you know what? I need something else. And it was like manifestation. I didn't know what manifestation was at that moment, but I said, I need something else because it's no way I can live my life like this, becoming 40, 50, 60, and I'm still struggling. Like I can't even pay my electricity on time. You know, the cable's always off. I had to go to a friend to hook up the cable illegally because my children needed to watch TV, and I couldn't afford to pay Comcast because I had to pay the electricity. I had to pay my car payment. I had to pay the insurance, and I just didn't have enough money to take my kids out to have a good time. I would go to the Dollar Tree to get the Sunday newspaper because I couldn't get the regular Sunday newspaper. It was $3. So I would go to Dollar Tree to get it, and I would cut the coupons out for Chuck E. Cheese so that, and it was the only one I could afford was the 29.99, because that one had the pizza. I remember it had like 50 tokens included. It had 4 sodas. And I was like, okay, perfect. We can have a nice family out. They were never able to really get a toy because 50 tokens, you didn't get that many other. Right. So this is manifestation, December 2012. I'm like, I need something more. Long story short, February 2013, I was fired from my job of 10 years. You can
Okay, oops. It went out it's a little shaky now. It was good at first. It's kind of I think you're frozen. Completely went out now. Yeah, I can't hear if you're talking. I can't hear anything. It's like completely frozen. Let's see.
Can you? Oh wait, I can. Hold on, works better.
Oh, okay.
Can you hear me better now?
I see you now. Yep, that's much better. Yep.
Okay, I have to go outside.
Much better. Okay.
Okay. All right. So where did you hear where I left off?
You lost your job of 10 years and then you were kind of
okay, perfect. Mm-hmm. Okay, good. Oh no, so you heard everything then. Okay. So yeah, so February 2013, I lost my job of 10 years. And it was like I manifested it, but I didn't have a plan. So it's like, what am I going to do now? I have this home that I'm losing. I don't have a job. So at this moment, like depression, anxiety, stress hit an all-time high, even though I had a mild case of it before. But now I'm like, okay, I have 2 children. I have my mother that I'm taking care of who had open heart surgery. Right. And I'm like, what am I going to do? I even have a little dog, and dogs are like kids. I'm like, I have all these responsibilities. Yeah. So I said, you know what? I took $50 from my very last paycheck from my job, which was BrandSmart USA. And I went and bought 5 rings from Gold Jane. And I said, I always remember the people from the flea market. I always remember the men who go to the nail salons or the women who are hustling the bags. So I said, okay, where can I go who has money right now? Because I have bills that are due right now. So I went to the strip club and I sold the rings. And when I made that money, I went and bought more rings and I accumulated about 300 something bucks. And I went and paid my utility bills. And this gave me the courage to start my online website. Because I said, man, if I can do this here, I can also do this online where there's a larger world. But what I had to do was to go onto social media as Sharmeeka. I was very scared because this is a woman who's been hurt, been through a lot of pain. She's overweight. She doesn't have any self-esteem. She doesn't value herself. She doesn't have a lot of friends. She doesn't have any celebrities. She doesn't have anybody to give her shout outs, no one to promote. So I was like, what do I do? So at this moment, I had developed my brand, or my name was called Beautiful at the time. And I named myself Beautiful on social media because I didn't feel beautiful. So I wanted people to call me beautiful so that it can start to reflect in me, hey, you are beautiful. So it was something that I was doing for my own personal subconscious. But then when that didn't work, I said, okay, beautiful is not working because I still don't feel beautiful. I'm still not achieving the goals. So I changed my name to Bawse Lady because my new world, I want to be a boss, but I needed to adapt a man's type of mentality to hustle, the grit, the grind. But I also wanted to be a lady at the same time. So that's when I came up with Bawse Lady. So I developed the alter ego Bawse Lady, channeling what, a man's mindset. And I would go on social media and I would make my posts. I would post all day long. I would comment, and when the people comments, come shop with me. I have the best jewelry. And my very first customer is a young lady from Orlando who I still remember to this day. I also went to her wedding because I was so grateful for her being my first customer. She bought one ring for $20. Her name is Nike, Naike. And I was so grateful. She gave me the courage that I can do this on social media and doing it digitally through my website. So my very first month online, I made $183, which was February 2013. And it's not a lot to a lot of people, but it was a lot to me. And I said, if I can make $183, that means all I have to do is continue to do the same thing, and I can double up next month, and I can possibly make almost $400. And that's all I kept in my mind. If I can make 20, I can do 2,000. I could do 20,000. And all I did was hustle, hustle, hustle. And I would stay up late at nights. I would go on YouTube. I would read articles and I would see, like, how do people promote? Like, what do they do in this new world? Because I'm coming from MySpace. So I don't know anything about Instagram, And it was a great journey to say the least, because I learned everything that I needed to know of how to build your business as an introvert. Because a lot of people, the first thing that they say is, I don't know a lot of people. Can I do this? I didn't know a lot of people, but you have to get to a place where people want to get to know you. So I just started sharing my life journey on social media of how, I've been through so many trials and tribulations, relationship issues, having to not be there for my children, having to deal with being overweight, having to deal with suicidal thoughts, depression, anxiety. And I just shared my truth. I also shared how my first year of business, not the year 2013, but the year 2014, that was my first year of earning 7 figures. And because I branched off into selling shapewear, because it was something that I secretively wore, because most women don't want women to know, or anybody to know if they're wearing a shaper or a garment. Like, they want to hide it. So I was that woman. So when I started promoting the shapewear, they were like, it's just, when I say it took off like lightning, like took off. It took off so much where it was like, I couldn't believe that this was my business. And that company is called Shaping Your Lifestyle. And I still do it to this day. I love my shapers. They're the best. And I actually went to over 20 wholesalers to find someone who would believe in me, because I didn't have money to buy 10,000 units, because I started selling the garments, I want to say in April of 2013. And I just didn't have the money. So I said, I found the last wholesaler and I said, listen, if you believe in me, I promise you, I will be your number one buyer, but I need to be able to buy as I go. I cannot buy plethora because I don't have the money. Like I just don't have it, you know, but I still wanted the wholesale price. Even if I bought 5, I wanted the price if I bought 5 or 5,000. And they literally worked with me. It was like a godsend. And what it taught me was don't accept the first no. The first no is just pushing you to that yes. So if you keep going, you keep fighting, you'll find exactly where you're supposed to be because everything works out in God's timing. So 2014, I make my first 7 figures. In January 2015, I woke up about to do my taxes and I don't have any money and I owe the IRS. I'm like, damn, I didn't even know I made this much money. So 2015, and I'm a numbers person, you know, 2015 leads to the number 8, which is new beginnings. And that's where I started my spiritual journey with just building and getting closer to God. And the only thing I told him was, I said, if you are able to help me continue to build my business where I can make money, I promise I'm always going to share your name of how God just changed my life, regardless of what path I'm going. Like, you'll always be first. I'll always tell everybody about you. So I did like a little bargain with God. And I'm like, you know, now looking back, it's like, hey, how you bargaining with God? Like, come on, what's going on here? And it was just, it changed my life. And everywhere I go, I always speak about God. Any conference, any meetings, any events, you know, I bring up God. I could be in a room full of Muslims. I'm still talking about God. You know, whoever your God is your God. This is my God. And I'm not ashamed of him. And I'm not going to silence him, right? And the greatness that he's done for my life. So 2015 comes down. It's the year of humility for me. It's the year of new beginnings. And that journey was really, really rough because it's like, you know, when you really start to say you're going to move in the footsteps of God, all kind of craziness starts to happen, you know? And that's how my life went. It went haywire. But I thugged it out, stuck it out, and moving forward now, 2015, I'm sharing my journey and my truth. This is how my followers started to accrue because I don't have paid followers. I have an organic fan base. And 2016, I'm still sharing more of my journey. Fast forward now, 2017. I start foundation to elevation. DMs and they're asking me, you know, how did you do it? And they're like, I've never seen this, but me, I'm a girl of receipts. Like, people can take pictures in front of houses, they can do all kind of things and say they did this and did that. No, I have my paperwork, I show my receipts because people out here be full of cap. And I don't want to do that. I want to inspire people and I want to show them how great God is and what he can do for you, regardless of where your journey has started. And 2017 now, I have so many DMs, but at this moment, I really don't have a lot of patience. I've never done personal development, so I didn't want to answer all these questions. So I started my seminars, and literally the first one sold out in 5 minutes, like completely sold out. It was 200 people. I couldn't believe it. Like, I started crying. I'm like, I can't believe people trust me. And I did the seminar, and I did it for $77 because 7 is my favorite number. And I've been doing my seminars now for 4 years, moving, you know, to now it's 2021, about to be 2022. But now because of COVID, I just transitioned them to doing them via webinars versus going state to state, because I would travel the entire United States and just bring my seminars to every city: LA, Chicago, Texas, Newark, Philly, the DMV, everywhere, Detroit. Like, I would go everywhere. And Miami, like, I did them everywhere. Georgia, North Carolina, like everywhere. And it helped so many people. I was like, wow, like, I can't believe, you know, God chose to use, you know, women like myself. So that's why every day I just keep fighting because of the journey, you know, what God has done for me.
Yeah. I mean, your story is amazing. I was taking some notes as you were talking because I kind of want to break down a few of the things. So first, I want to get into because you were saying how when you first started off, your name was, what was it, Beautiful? Was that the first name, the first Instagram name, right? And then you say you changed it to Bawse Lady because you wanted to, you know, really take on, it was almost like a personal thing for you, a mental thing. So
yeah,
because it's just a lot of women out there now, especially single moms, and they're, you know, trying to figure things out. How did you really find the courage, even past just the Instagram names, but how did you really find the courage to just go for it and just start the business, start building the personal brand online?
So I didn't have the courage. It was really an ultimatum. It's either live on the streets or you have to do this, because I didn't have anyone to take care of me. And I had my children, even though I was married at the time, it was like I was still single because he wasn't helping me pay any of the bills. So I literally had no choice. Like there was no option. It was either sleep on the street or you need to work this business. And what happened was I developed such a hate for the 9 to 5 world, because when I was fired from my job, I applied for unemployment. And when I applied, they denied me. So I was like, I am never going to get another 9 to 5 job. So you guys can fire me when you feel like it. And I have a family to feed. So I didn't want to put my livelihood in the hands of someone else. So that's actually how I didn't have the courage. I just had to do it.
You just went out there, and then you even said too, you made your first, 7 figures from selling shapewear. And so, but you say you didn't have the money at first, but you had to pretty much go through these different vendors and find one that was willing to work with you to say, hey, I don't have the money, but just work with me. And then, it became a success because, especially now with everything going on and throughout probably the past year and a half since COVID has been happening, there's been a lot of, new entrepreneurs, a lot of people who, they got laid off and they just want to start their own business. But even as far as with the shapewear, like what do you think really separated you from other people who were selling, shapewear and things like that, to where you were able to make, your first 7 figures doing it?
So what I did was I looked at the competition and I saw what they were doing. Everyone was selling like the cheap China stuff. So I made sure that the vendors first, when I was looking for them, I wanted them to be from Colombia because the quality is much better. I didn't want China. And then I also included a measuring tape so that they could measure themselves. And I included a free meal plan because I needed to separate myself in that industry. So I offered more and offered better quality. And then another reason why I took off was because I'm the owner and I actually use the product. So it was a bit challenging putting myself out there because I am Black. I am a little clatchet. So that's classy and ratchet at the same time. So I am going to offend some people, but I had no choice but to be the face of my brand because I didn't have any money to pay shoes or be a model. I didn't have the money.
I love that. I love it. You just the transparency. You just more so being you being the face of it, and you just being transparent and people hearing your story. And so I want to get into to even your journey, because like I said, this is kind of how I came into knowing you through TLC. And so we talk about streams of income now, because you were already making money even before you got into that, right? And so you get to TLC, and then even now you have other things. So how were you, for people who are trying to figure it out, because people, they always say you should have these different streams of income, but some people, they do everything at one time, but they still don't make no money. So what advice do you have for people who are like, okay, I want to have these different streams of income, but how to successfully have different streams of income?
So, for me, again, it really goes back to God. Like, I've been offered to be in TLC for a very long time. Since 2014, people have been trying to get me in that company. And I'm like, I'm not doing it. Number one, because in my mind, I'm like, I'm not working for anybody else. I didn't know how it worked, but I just know I'm not going to have someone sign my paychecks because I went through that for 10 years and they let me go. And I wasn't interested in learning how the system worked. I wasn't interested in learning any of that. I just know that if I'm not in control of my own money, I don't want no parts of it. So since 2014 up until 2019, I always declined. I always said no. So reluctantly, I was in Vegas and I was in a Louis Vuitton store and walked in Stormy. I walked in and I saw Stormy Wellington in there, who is actually my coach and my mentor. We actually live around the corner from each other. So we already knew each other. We're social media friends. We see each other at events and everything is all good. And she was just like, come on, let's go out to eat. Me, I'm a girl for any time. For free food, I love to eat. This is why I was overweight, because I like to eat. I love to cook. That's just my thing. And I went out with her to eat, and she was just opening up a sachet. And I was like, what is that? And she was like, just drink it. So I took a sip of it, and then she was doing her business, and we just finished our conversation. I went home, and then I was actually able to go to the restroom. Most people don't know this. I don't talk about it, but I've had issues going to the restroom, which caused me to have a horrible pregnancy because I had hemorrhoids the entire time. It was like, when I say I'll never have any more kids, because it was horrible. And being pregnant, I had a huge fibroid. My baby was battling with the fibroid. It started to degenerate inside of me. So it was like I had contractions like every other hour for like a week. Like it was so much pain. It was horrible. So now when I'm able to go to the restroom, like I literally called and I was like, yo, whatever that is, I need more of that. Because me going to the restroom is so difficult. I got to drink citrated magnesia, the milk of magnesia, all prune juice, like all the nasty stuff. So I'm like, I'm cool. I just don't go. So my stomach would always hurt. And this is another reason why I always wear a shaper, because if I didn't wear a shaper, my stomach would be so bloated, especially around that time of the month. It would look like I'm pregnant. Like it's horrible. Like when I had got my breast done in 2015. Literally after I got off the table, it looked like I was 5 months pregnant. The way I was so bloated because I couldn't go to the bathroom for like 2 weeks. It was horrible. I ended up in the emergency room. Like it was terrible. So when I got the tea from her, I was like, I need more and let me get it. And she actually, because she just talked so much. And I was like, listen, just whatever you want me to do, it's $50 more. I'll just sign up in it because I want to be done this conversation. I want to go back home and drink this stuff so I can just go to the bathroom. So I was kind of like rushing the process. I didn't know what I was getting myself into. But when I say again, God always has the perfect timing. He knows exactly what he wants for your life. And I signed up in the business, but I absolutely did nothing in the business because I was not interested. I just wanted her to stop talking about it. I kept using the products because I wanted to go to the restroom. And I've always been that woman of transparency. So my skin was very, very bad. And I always posted it on social media prior to joining Total Life Changes. And people started saying, boss, your skin is clearing up. I'm like, nah. Like, when your people love you, like they always support you. They tell you great things. Like your hair could be a mess. They'll say, no, you're still cute. So I didn't believe them because we really built such a bond with me and my followers. Like I could gain 20 pounds. They'd be like, girl, you look amazing because they're just that supportive. So I look in the mirror and then I start comparing videos to old photos. And I'm like, oh my God, like my skin is like, I was dead ass shocked. I said, I can't believe this. And I said, there's no way. This bag is $60. The NutriBurst is $40. I'm like, I'm not promoting this to my followers. Like, there's no way that this works because I tried everything else. I was in disbelief. That's one of the reasons why I would not promote it, because I'm a woman of integrity. Like, I don't promote anything. Right. Nothing. Like, you can't pay me to promote. I don't want to do that. Like, I'm not going to flood my page with all kind of people's stuff. Like, I just don't do that. And then what I would do is, because I didn't want people to pay me for promotions, but I do have a fan base that is really, really like full as ever. So I would promote free businesses. Like I would promote businesses for free on Mondays only. So people could send me whatever they wanted and I would promote them and I would help a lot of people make a lot of money. And I did this for years, 4 years, just helping them. So one day there's a hurricane that's coming to Miami. It's sat over the Bahamas for 24 hours. I shut down all my businesses because I was like, okay, I can't go to the post office. So preparing for the hurricane. The hurricane never comes. It's September 2019. And then God is like, just post your photo, the transformation. Girl, I posted that photo. It went crazy. I ended up making $12,000 my first week in TLC. And it's because I've been that woman who's transparent. Like I always posted the photos. It really works because I thought it was a scam because I was like, I didn't believe that this worked. Even though I'm using it, I still didn't believe it because it was too cheap. It was too cheap versus the issues that I've had my entire life with my skin. I would think that I would have to do something that costs $10,000 to fix my skin. But I didn't realize that my issue was internally, it wasn't external. And that's why whatever I used prior to that never worked. So I fast forward, I ended up making $1 million in 7 months in TLC, 2.5 million my first year. And it's been taking off ever since then. And now we're actually taping, we're doing a TV show together, Coach Stormy, myself, and a couple of the other ladies.
who are in TLC. So it's about the world knowing, seeing women, especially minorities, coming together. We may have issues, but it's about staying together. Most women, when they have an issue, they'll forgive their man, but then they won't forgive the girl. They'll cut the girl off and done, talk crazy about them. So it's about a sisterhood for real, for real.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and going back to the beginning of what you said it was pretty much God. Like, you had your other businesses and you've always incorporated God with it. So even going into TLC and incorporating, the different business, because you were still selling shapewear with you. Like, you never stopped doing anything. You just kind of added on to what you were already doing. And it's been working. So clearly it's been working.
And it works because that's why I say God always sets you up, because I believe, like, if you're like a car salesman and you try this, it's like they don't sync together, right? Like the shapewear is part of a woman's body, so they want to look amazing, help them be more sexier, have that hourglass shape, flatten their stomach. I sell meal plans, which still ties in because it's health. You eat better, you work out. The TLC products are about health. And then my foundation to elevation is about mental health. So it's all tied into health. And I'm always talking about God. So that's the spiritual health about it. So me, it's like I'm really like a health coach, spiritually, mentally, and physically.
And so let's get into the foundation to elevation, because you just released your new ebook for that. So let's get into that and what people can expect from the ebook.
So my ebook, I actually wrote it after I did my spiritual fast. Actually, during my spiritual fast, I did a 3-week fast where there's no social media, no phone, no nothing. And it was like, God said he sent this woman who actually is the same woman that told me to actually go full throttle with TLC, because I wasn't going to do it. Because I'm like, I've been hurt by women before. I tried the friendship thing and I'm like, I'm cool. I'll just stay by myself, the introvert that I am. And that's just how life is going to be. I'll just have my one best friend, Brittany, and that's it. So she told me in September 2019, 2 weeks after I did the post, God wants you to do this business. And when you do, you're going to make so much money in 6 to 7 months. And like I told you, I made $1 million in 7 months. And I was shocked. So this young lady, her name is Pastor Regina. She called me June 11th, 2021. And she's like, you need to go on a spiritual fast. You're going to be attacked. And I'm like, what? I'm like, oh my God. So, but I believe her because she prophesied over me before. And I'm on my second day of the fast. I'm like, I've never fasted before. And I'm like, I don't feel anything. Like, I don't feel anything. So I said, God, how long should I be fasting for? And he literally told me to come back July 7th at 7 p.m. Again, 777. And to the T, that date was 3 weeks from I did my fast. And 3 times 7 is 21. And if you do anything for 21 days, it becomes a habit. So during that time now, I'm writing my ebook. So I wrote my ebook and I'm like, I want to help people to understand how they can really transform themselves, changing their mindsets off and understanding their truth. And on top of the ebook, I said, but you know what? Just reading an ebook is just not enough. You need to be able to apply the knowledge. So there has to be some form of action. So everything that people read within my ebook is going to help them spiritually. It's going to help them mentally. It's going to help them to understand how to deal with yourself, even if you are an introvert, how to develop an alter ego, how to deal with stress, how to actually write your goals, how to plan for the future. So I included a 30-day workbook, and I did 30 days because people have bad moments. They have bad days. And you need to be able to do something for 21 days in order for it to form a habit. So I said, if they even slip for a week, they'll still have 21 days, right? They'll have more than 21 days because a week is 7. So that's 28. So they'll have 22 days actually, right? Because it's a 30-day workbook. And since I did that ebook, right? God told me, he said, be still, don't do anything. And I'm like, I'm talking about, I didn't promote, I didn't do anything. I do all my promotions via Instagram. If I don't post, I don't make any money. So I'm that woman that posts for profits.
Right.
So I made nothing. But during those 3 weeks, I didn't even care. I didn't care about making $1. Money was not my concern. My concern was building up my spiritual health with God. And literally, I didn't even promote my ebook on social media. I promoted it a different route silently. And in 8 hours, I made $60,000 off of that ebook.
Wow.
And
Off of social media. You said through emails.
It was basically through a text service.
Ah, okay.
Yes. So it's like an email. It's like the email, but I did it through the cell phone.
Wow.
You know how they have like the MailChimp or something like that?
Yeah.
And it was like, I hired my marketing team. I hired a PR, Crystal, during this time because I don't trust people. I'm very scared. And God is like, it's time for you to go to the next level. So I hired Crystal. I hired the marketing team. This is just in June. And everything has just been soaring ever since then because I need to be able to trust. I need to let go of the fears that I had in this moment in my life. The spiritual fast was about being able to build up Sharmeeka now because Sharmeeka has been hidden. She has been suppressed. Everything is about Bawse Lady. So now it's about helping her grow so that Sharmeeka and Bawse Lady can actually combine together to be a force to be reckoned with.
Okay, so it's like it's almost like Bawse Lady is like your, I don't want to say your alter ego, but it's like Bawse Lady is like it helped you actually become the person you are to now. So now you want to commingle both, okay, I got
exactly.
You. Okay, no, this is good. This is good stuff. And we'll get ready to wrap up shortly, but I want to ask you I want to get into a little bit about how you were able to overcome depression and anxiety, especially for women like after divorce and really just finding yourself again through all of that while raising kids and, running businesses and all of that.
I would say for me, I was a depressed business owner up until January 2020. So I was a functioning depressed woman who's running these businesses. And what helped me is actually positioning myself in the right environment to be around women who, when I do feel depressed, that they can remind you genuinely from the heart, or men, whatever group you're in, that you're valued, you're worth it, because there's moments where I still I'm stressed out, I have anxiety, this is too much, I feel like I'm doing too much, or if I'm doing too much in my business, I'm not doing enough in my family side. Right now, I'm going through the worst divorce ever that I've been fighting for. We've been separated for 2 years. So it's very stressful, but it's how to manage that is about me continuing to build my relationship with God, me being an environment of women and men, so I don't spend my moments feeling drained, so I don't feel stressed out. So I'm not thinking about the negative. I'm only thinking about the positivity and what's to come, because the seeds that I plant today is what I'm going to bloom tomorrow. So I don't want to plant seeds of depression. I don't want to plant seeds of anxiety or stress. I want to plant seeds of love, life, peace, happiness. So tomorrow I can see those come to life.
Yes, I love that. It's it is for me, I've been through a divorce myself. So it's for me, it was so I know but it was a period where it's you get used to this lifestyle, living with, a person. Then it's all of a sudden, I know for me, the day he moved out, it was I came home and I'm wow. It was I cried. I did. Cause I'm wow, this is my new life, but that was 2019, but is this 2021? I'm it's the best thing ever. I'm doing better now than I was doing, and not to take anything away from him. He was a good person, but God has somebody for everybody and he wasn't for me. So, but yeah, but I think for a lot of people though, that are dealing with that, it can be a lot, even trying to figure out the new normal and figure out, okay, who, and just things that you probably were suppressing when you were with this person, just really just honestly just rediscovering yourself. I know that's the process I had to go through. And
that
I know
was definitely for me too, because I had that same epiphany, but I had it when I walked into my closet. I was happy. When I walked to my home, yes, it's a breath of fresh air. It's my home. I can do what I want to do. But then when I walked to my closet, damn, you really by yourself now. Okay, right. This is new. But I honestly love it. And for me, I wasn't talking about it because we've been separated a very long time. But I said, there's so many women out there who have been holding themselves back because they're afraid to walk away, because we were together 17 years and they use the time and they use the children as the glue to stay together, not realizing they have lost themselves within this relationship. And if you don't know yourself and you don't know your worth and you lose it, there's no way that you can be successful in the business, because your business is a reflection of you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, that's I know that could be like a whole other conversation, like really just finding the strength.
I know, right?
I mean, like really, because I've heard it so many times, like, women and men who is like, they'll be in these relationships and they're like, well, I don't really want to be here, but I'm staying for the kids. I'm staying for convenient, whatever the reason is, a lot of different reasons. But I think that, just really having that courage and that strength to not being afraid to just start over. And you 17, that's a long time. That's, almost 2 decades,
Yes.
It's like really starting a whole new life. So that's, and I know it's a lot of people who they're hear this and they're going to be able to relate to this, your story, and they may even find the strength to leave. So I'm proud of you.
But that's one of the things that I've been teaching at my elevation, because a lot of women do have the strength to leave, but they don't have the finances to leave. So it's both, so that's why I teach women, finances give you a voice in your relationship. So you never want to lose your voice. So that's something else that I'm going to be teaching on heavily, because you want to be able to provide this lifestyle the same, if not better, of what you have. You don't want just the man to provide that for you. So if he removes that rug from you, what happens, especially if you have children, how will their life be,
And so with that, with the Foundation Elevation ebook, and you say you're still doing the seminars now, right? Okay, yes. So when can we find, because we're based in Atlanta, so do you have an Atlanta stop coming?
So actually, I'm going to be up there for the GoatCon, which is by Skittles. I'm going to be speaking on her platform for her husband, Mr. Goat. But for the web, it's my seminars are via webinar. So anywhere in the world, anybody can tune in. And my last one that I did, which was so powerful, I actually have the replay available on my link tree. Okay. So they can just click the link and they can purchase the replay of that webinar, which is about personal development, spiritual growth, teaching content, branding, marketing, how to do that as an introvert, how to do it without a team, or how to do it with a team, and also teaching people how to fix their own credit, because credit is part of your financial health.
I love it. So anywhere in the world, they can tap in with the Foundation to Elevation, with the seminars, the ebook. It's all available on your social media. And so last thing, before we get ready to leave, what are some words of advice that you want to give to speak to the woman like you, who was like you, let's say maybe like 5 years ago, who was still trying to figure it out and just pretty much, especially financially, like what do you want to leave with those women and men too?
Yes. For me, it's very simple, but you just can't give up. Like, you can never, ever give up. The dark days, the cries, the lonely nights, because you can be laying next to someone and still feel alone. You can be married and still be a single parent, but it's about fighting for tomorrow. So my encouragement is never give up. You want to see through what your goals are. Work on your own personal development, because as you start to build the value in yourself, you stop disrespecting yourself by having self-sabotaging thoughts, by telling yourself you're not good enough, by saying, you know what, I'm not sure. Like, you start to remove those type of negative thoughts. And once you start to remove that, you'll be able to attract now people that will enter your life, like how Coach Stormy has entered mine, and you'll be able to grow and go to another level, because most people are going through a lot of situations, but they never grow from it. And that's why they keep living that same cycle over and over and over and over again. So never give up, stay true to yourself and your authentic ways, and build a solid relationship with God and work on personal development. When you really do those things in real life, I promise you, it's like, that's why I named my events Elevate. You can only elevate from there. Like, you'll never go back down. Like, I only want the elevator that continues to go up, and with me, I'm not taking the stairs. Most people say, you take the stairs one step at a time. No, if you implement those things, man, God will rise you faster than you'll ever see. So that's why everything is about elevate. I have an elevator mindset.
I love it. And, you know, I think a lot of people, they don't understand how important personal development is. I mean, it's so important. And
So important. Yes.
and like you said, that relationship with God and being in tune with him and spending time with him, it's so important. And so what can we, I know you have the book, you're filming the show, any other things that we should know that you have coming up next?
So I actually have coming up very, very soon, I have my credit course, which is going to be amazing because so many people have bad credit. And a lot of credit repair companies, I'm not, bashing them or anything like that, but for the woman or man like myself that I didn't have the money to pay a company to do it. I had to figure it out on my own. So I literally have put together the entire cheat sheet of how you can fix your credit yourself, implement this information in your life. And literally my score was 500, and now it's like literally when I say like a sneeze away from 800, you're able to share this information with your children, with your family, with your friends. Because imagine if you have an emergency. If you only use your debit card, that means if the money is not there, you can't do it. You can't take care of this emergency. Right. But if you have a credit card, you'll be able to put whatever issue you have on your emergency on your credit card, and you'll be able to pay that in 30 days. Or if you have something that has 18 months with no interest rate, you can spread that emergency out for 18 months. But having me, so right now you can get that's $5. It is a building your brand as an entrepreneur course. It is amazing. It is to get that woman or man out of their head, not feeling that they are not good enough, that they don't understand, they don't know. And because introverts are very scared, they don't take on opportunities. So that's the reason why I made it $25. So they won't second guess themselves saying, do I have to spend 100? Do I have to spend 200? It is a $25 course that is priceless because it is going to change them for sure. And then they can get my regular ebook, which is the Foundation to Elevation, which is about personal development, spiritual growth. And that is $77. And that comes with the 30-day workbook. They can also purchase my shapewear on my bio on social media. And they can also purchase the replay of the Foundation to Elevation webinar there as well, which will be permanently in stock.
I love
and
it.
It's 6.5 hours.
Okay. Oh, the replay 6.5 from the webinar. Okay. And then your social media is give us your social media for people.
So my social media is _B as in boy, AWSELAD as in David, Y _. So _Bawse Lady _. Right on Instagram, you can find me. I'm always there on live, talking, giving some jewels, or making some jokes, but it's all about just living the best life. That's what I want to give. Great energy, great education, and that's it.